I'm Eric Taryn Mullins, and I've spent roughly about 9 years making my own manga comic called Blithe, and I watch a ton of anime while doing it. I'll put my work progress on the side here. Okay, let's talk about Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and how we're on the fence about it. Ah, jeez. This show right here. This show is a slice of life comedy, with a few romance elements thrown in here or there, spanning 2 seasons with an extra episode for each season being an OVA. Or is it OAV? There are also some well-animated action and combat scenes in this show. The overall theme and moral to this series is through communication and being open to understanding someone that is different from you, peaceful coexistence is possible. The main premise and introduction to characters will make you think it's a rom-com, but do not be fooled. The rom is like 20% in this show. The jokes and slice-of-life storytelling take precedence over everything else. There aren't really any moments that will make your heart pound out of its chest with the exhilaration of a couple making a first move or potentially hooking up. Instead, they opt for making a ton of jokes to kill off most tension of the series. I'm looking at you, Diz! But don't let my light explanation fool you, this show definitely has quite a bit of adult content. Quick disclaimer, while this show doesn't have any actual nudity in it or any major gore, a lot of its subject matter is extremely explicit in its depiction or themes. This sort of content can range from serious moments, realistically done human situations, and of course, fan service. In this case, that usually just focuses on wow. And they do this quite often. It really is the only kind of fan service they push, to the point where it really comes off as unnecessary more than half the time, but on occasions it's very well placed jokes, especially when they give explanations for why things are the way they are. All the slice of life tropes are in this series, from the Xmas episode to the beach adventure, all the way to hot spring shenanigans. Nothing was spared. And I guess we see this a lot because, you know, Japan is awesome, but it still only has so many activities to offer up, especially for a series that depicts somewhat realistic placement. So who is who in this show? Miss Kobayashi represents the hard-working, overexerted, and no-lifing societal class in Japan. She punches in her 12 or more hour workdays, willing to help out everyone else around her with their projects and burn herself out completely while doing it. A pain some of us know all too well. After her insane workdays, she usually treats herself by going out to a bar and just getting wasted, sometimes even blackout drunk. We gotta cram in all those weeks or months of missing out on the fun into one crazy epic night. Her inebriation is done very accurately throughout the series, where it's kinda funny sometimes, and others it feels all too real, awkward, and misplaced. A lot of us have had to deal with these annoying and sometimes misplaced drunkards every now and then, and sometimes that's us. But she's not drinking alone. She hits up these bars with an otaku coworker. They share their passions, in which Kobayashi's is, you guessed it, drag maids. She flipping obsesses about maids, so much so that when Serendipity drops a depressed dragon at her doorstep dressed as a maid, Kobayashi rips into her poorly designed cosplay looking maid outfit with anger and frustration. This implies that the creator of this series actually did their homework about maids and then drew our fun lovable dragon girl wrong on purpose to use as great material throughout the series. Toru is the main dragon girl of the show. She's got an adorable round face, an upbeat go-getter attitude, and she's just so thick in that tail. This show really made the monster girl large tail a more popular thing in the art community. Toru is deeply in love with Kobayashi and wants to spend every waking moment by her side. I won't go on about why. This is for you to discover if you decide to watch the show. These two living together is pretty cute, and the representation in this series, while definitely a main factor, doesn't take precedence over the main storytelling, and is written as matter of fact, over preachy, monetary pandering. I'm looking at you, Diz! Why is she in our realm? Well, she left the dimension she was from to escape death due to certain abrasive situations. The third main protagonist is a character consistently trying to separate our cute couple, and No, I'm just joking. This isn't that kind of show. This is Kana. She is an adorable young dragon. Thanks to the internet and how there are real monsters out there, I can accurately depict what you're thinking. And for 90% of the series, I'd say you're wrong. But of course, this is a comedy show. Above all else, so like, yeah. Kana is for the most part awesome. She is constantly written as a cute character with some moments that give you the feels and eating habits that might actually make you cry laughing. She tends to put that "aw, so cute" moment often in the series so that you, the viewer, can be manipulated into loving every second you see her. And it works. She really balances out Toru's wild and outgoing personality while making Kobayashi realize that maybe there's more to life outside of work when you have someone that relies so heavily on you in life. She also has a young school friend that is completely infatuated with her, named Riko Saikawa. Sometimes this character will make you chuckle, and other times you'll be clutching your ears in pain as she screams out in ecstasy whenever Kana does, well, anything really. It can be fairly annoying at the beginning, but they definitely tone it down as the series goes on. But why is Kana in our realm? She was banished from her dimension due to causing too many pranks. More on this later. Now I'm gonna get into the side characters. First up, Fafnir. He's one of those dragons that loves to hoard valuables and hates everything that has tried to take these from him. In his long lifespan, it's left him jaded, hurt, and lonely. So imagine a personality like his coming into our world without any place to stay or go, and living with a super otaku, the one I had mentioned earlier. That's Kobayashi's drinking buddy, Makoto Takiya. All the figures, collectibles, card games, anime series to watch, and here's the big one, video games.
With loot, unlockables, exclusive skins, trophies, special editions, collector's editions, store exclusives, alternate versions, add-ons, memorabilia, rare drops, legendary drops, timed events, timed exclusive drops.
And the internet brings so many that have his same goals and beliefs together. What a world we live in. The side story we see now and then following these two is quite an interesting one, and I'm sure it could spawn a whole show of its own. Perhaps we see this in the manga, but I can't read them. I'm like Kobayashi, and I work 14 hours a day. Next side character we get to see is Quetzalcoatl, but she just likes to be called Lukua. This girl is all around a massive joke. Unlike the others, she's actually a goddess, one that was banished from the heavens because of a drunken mishap that involved her younger sister, but we won't get too far into that. Her eyes are very unique, and she seems to drop truths here and there that make us think something serious or epic is on the horizon. But don't expect much, as everything just falls flat in the end. She also constantly gets carted off the show by some sort of police officer because of her over-sexualized disposition she enjoys taking.
For what? Arresting me for what? I'm not allowed to stand up for myself?
She is also living with Shuta, a young mage in training that... I'm not even gonna begin talking about how inappropriate this whole thing is, so I'm just gonna let South Park do it for me.
Well, it isn't a guy teacher, it's a woman.
A woman?
Yeah, she's having with a boy.
Oh, but she's ugly, right?
Well, no, not really.
The blonde?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
What?
This is fine, right? This is Elma, my own biased favorite of the series. She is stuck in our dimension after she went after Toru, who she sees as a rival nemesis of sorts. While being stuck here, I'd say she integrates the best within the human world by getting a job. She isn't good at all, and becoming a total foodie, living that Povo lifestyle because her inability to say no to delicious. I just have a thing for wanting sushi all day, every day. So what? We only live once. Don't judge me. And last, but certainly not least, we have Ilulu. She's a character that shows up during the beginning of the second season. This is fine, right? Jokes aside, her design is, I love the tail and horns along with the haircut. She's not a child, she's just little, and they gave her a single colored dark dress. There's certain things here that are just very lazy. When I saw her in the promotional material for the second season, I really thought the second series was going to be terrible. But she was absolutely awesome. It was quite a surprise. So funny. At one point, they make a joke about having human hands, and it cracked me up so good I spit water out while I was drinking it. It was interesting to see them have a character that you figured for sure they would be making childish lewd jokes about, but instead focused on completely different themes of humor that you wouldn't expect. I must say this concept of sideways jokes is a real welcome staple for the series, and is part of why it gets away with certain things better than so many other shows attempting the same thing. Okay, so like, characters and premise aside, how does the series flow? It's really funny. It should be. That's the main selling point. The story gets serious from time to time, but it's so minute that it's almost not worth mentioning. Almost. But when it gets serious, it really breaks its own mold. There are quite a few things I love about how they stick to characters' way of seeing things, and they rarely deviate from this. At one point, Toru gets told, "Thanks for the coffee, it was heavenly." And she replies with, "I'm sure you meant that as a compliment." Toru is a dragon after all, and comes from a long line of not particularly nice ones. The devil's in the details, and this show really hammers this down. When it comes to the story, or their personal abilities and the continuity of such things, it starts to get a little hazy. Like, they don't sleep, but we actually see most of them sleeping in an episode after a big holiday meal. I had mentioned earlier that Kana had done so many pranks that she was kicked out of her dimension, but we never see her do a single prank in the show. Not even to lash out against Kobayashi for certain things she should have lashed out for. We know at one point they all go to meet Kobayashi's parents, but they didn't make an episode about this, though it is brought up later in the series. These are small things, but they can add up after 2 seasons. The first season was fun. The OAV was okay, but I have hope for so much more. The second season really made me love this show, and the final OAV was cute and laid back. Art style is subjective. Those of you that have seen my artwork, watched past videos of mine, know I flipping love when things are round and cute. And this show is super round. Look at all them faces. The dubbing in this series is absolutely fantastic. They really had the same level of energy as the Japanese VAs, and some of the jokes that only work in Japanese were translated and modified for an English audience with near perfection. For real, it's very good. Background music was also excellent, with some tunes feeling as though they may have come straight out of a Ghibli movie. The intro and end themes for both seasons are very high energy, which can be a lot for some people. The first time I listened to them, I was like, what the? I can't listen to this too often. Then a week later, it got stuck in my head, and then it makes its way onto my playlist, and then when you least expect it, you're listening to it on repeat all day long for a whole workday. And that's pretty much it for Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Jokes were solid, story was okay, but that's to be expected from a slice of life, where major direction and in-depth story progression are on the sidelines. I would have liked to see a few more rom-com elements to be present, but I can't complain too much because everything just flowed so nicely regardless. Being a huge Monster Guy and Girl fan, as some of you may already know, my manga comic Blithe is loaded with them. I really like the dragon characters in this series. Let me know in the comment section which side of the fence you've chosen to fall on. Do you have a favorite type of monster guy or girl? Is it dragons? Be sure to let me know in the comments section. I'll be sure to highlight a few of the comments here and read them out at the end of the next video I make. Here are some of the highlighted comments from my last video about the anime My Dress Up Darling Season 1. You can always check it out by clicking the link if you want to know more about this rom-com series, as I gave it a light review. Uth the God, or Uthde the God. I'm sorry, I might be butchering that name. They say, nice job, Eric. Pretty nice review, and you're hilarious as usual. Thank you. Keep up the amazing work, buddy. I certainly will. Next one is Sean Mullins, who says, I don't know this anime at all. I'm going to check it out for sure. Thank you, Sean. I hope you enjoy it. And the last one is by Waldo Raymond, and they say, great video, bud. Thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate it. I put a ton of work into making these videos. I'd also love it if you liked and subscribed to my channel. Maybe hit that notification bell. While I'm drawing, there's a YouTube podcast I love to watch. Each person that supports me in this way gets me one step closer to one of my lifelong dreams, being an invited guest on the YouTube anime channel Trash Taste. And I plan on making awesome, funny, and ridiculous content for you all until I get there. So why not join me on my pilgrimage to reaching this destination? I mean, it's just a few clicks away. Thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome rest of your day.